In the following maybe 60 to 70 minutes, we will talk about the inaugural East Asia Sports Sociology Forum, which took place at National Taiwan Sport University on October 19th and 20th this year. All the panelists today also participated in the forum on that weekend. They are Steve Jackson of University of Otago, who also served as one of the keynote speakers at EASSF. And also we got Professor Satoshi Shimizu of University of Tsukuba in Japan. And also we got Song-Yong Kwon from Seoul National University. He is also serving as a member of the ISSA Executive Board. So that's everybody, all the panelists here. And again, I'm Shang Chen. I will serve as a moderator for this virtual panel. So what's this EASSF? Also, I have a topic for this, is a 2024 hindsight. I think it's an American way to express. Of course, it's pun intended. I know that when you say someone have a 2020 vision, it means that you see everything clearly. But of course, this is year 2024, so I use it as a. I'm not sure if I use it correctly, but try to say that we have this vision, but it's not perfect yet. So we're trying to improve from your comments and all the opinions we will have later in this session. And first, please allow me to brief you with something about the EASF 2024. It all started last year. Let me share with you this. So that's speakers that we have right now. And also, that's 3 versions of the posters that we distribute in the 3 nations. There are Korean, Japanese, and of course, Mandarin. So the story started last year in Ottawa during the ISSA annual Congress. And when a few East Asian scholars had a usual water cooler talk out of nowhere, I cannot even remember who came up with this idea by saying that since we are not going to meet physically in 2024, why don't we have an East Asian one? At that time, everybody just chuckled because no one would believe that it would become reality. And 14 months later, we did it. In this 2-day event, there were over 170 delegates, 3 keynote speeches by Steve Jackson, Brent McDonald, and Marcelle Dawson. 3 panels on various East Asian sports, including gender, elite sport policy, and East Asian baseball. We also got 49 oral presentations and 10 poster presentations. This was way more than, and this beyond my expectation by quite a mile. And this was more than an incredible academic event. It was also a cultural exchange. So as a host, we make it not just we might try to also showcase our Taiwanese culture. So we gave the reusable shopping bag, what we call Taiwanese Louis Vuitton bag, to the delegates. And also a coaster with a landmark Taipei 101 on it for everyone having a beer or 2. And we've also got world famous bubble tea at the lunch here. So you can see that. We also went to game 2 of the Taiwan series in the newly built Taipei Dome. And just a proof to show you that we did not just have all the fun stuff, but during the weekend, there's also some serious academic presentation and activities here. So to me, the whole experience was unbelievable, even though I really had enough of bureaucracy for the administrative works, but it's still worth it. But you cannot just take all my words for it, right? So you have to listen to what other delegates have to say. So I will pass the microphone to Steve, Satoshi, and Song Yong, I think in this order. So Steve, you go first.
There we go. Thank you, Sean, for that introduction. And yeah, it seems like yesterday in some ways, but it also seems like a long time ago that we met for the forum in Taipei. And I'll just offer some general comments on reflections. And it's been nice actually even thinking about this. So first of all, I just want to say to Sean and Mandy and to all your colleagues and postgrad students, you did a fantastic job of hosting us. And as you mentioned, it wasn't just an academic experience. It was a cultural and a social experience as well. And I think all the delegates were very grateful. Everything from the food, the baseball game, etc. I'll do this in sort of an order and just say that, starting with the three keynotes, I'll leave myself out, but Brent McDonald, the legendary Brent McDonald, did a fantastic job of providing an overview of IRSS and the types of publications that have been done about East Asian topics broadly defined, and sort of encouraging us to engage in a bit of self-reflexivity and to think about the multi-directional flows of knowledge. And I think that's very, very important because it became quite evident that some of the topics that are being studied in Taiwan and Korea and Japan are the same ones being studied elsewhere, but there's a uniqueness to the each context, and that's quite important. Marcelle Dawson did a great job talking about CrossFit and the politics of a contemporary fitness regime, talking about it not only as a way that people get fit and the sort of concerns about it being a kind of cult, but this applying, Zygmunt Bauman's concept of the peg communities, that is sort of solitary individuals meeting, sort of hoping or assuming they have a sense of community, and yet it's not really anything that's very authentic. It's sort of hanging like a peg on a pole. The panels were fantastic and really enlightening. And I think the thing that I remember the most is actually going to the sessions by scholars and postgraduate students. And I probably shouldn't be, given all the conferences that I've been to outside of English-speaking countries, but the quality of the English, the quality of the theoretical and conceptual depth was really, really impressive. And as I mentioned, some of the topics, people would be surprised that they're quite similar to those that we're studying in New Zealand and Australia, Canada, Japan, and elsewhere. I'll pick out three topics that really struck me. One was from a student named Francis Taesung Liu, who was studying migrant ice hockey communities and being from Canada originally. That one really struck me as something quite fascinating about how these largely Canadian and American, but also could be Russian migrants are finding a sense of community where sport becomes a kind of passport to link in with others about at least something that they have in common, to share their troubles, etc. And that has a lot of far-ranging implications for how they connect and learn about how to navigate the Taiwanese, social system, health system, and a range of other things. Urya Siu did a great presentation on the media portrayals of sports washing and Saudi's bid for the 2034 Olympics. And then there was a couple of presentations actually on cheerleading and the sexualization of cheerleaders, which we've heard in many cases, but the Taiwanese case is exceptionally fascinating, where the cheerleaders are almost as famous, it seems, as the players, where they have their own cards, celebrity cards that they're selling. And I believe one of the students talked about the idea of actually taking strands of their hair and selling or marketing that to engage with fans. And that was extremely fascinating. So I think overall, I think what was highlighted for me is the ongoing thing that I learn every time. We all need to go to these conferences and forums with a really open mind, to open our minds and our hearts to really engage with the content that's being presented, because people have worked on it so hard, and we can find a lot of common ground. So I think those are my main reflections, and again, just very grateful for the opportunity to be in Taiwan and to have another great experience there. Kia ora.
Thanks you, Steve, for all the kind words. And next we'll have Professor Satoshi Shimizu.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Satoshi Shimizu from Japan University of Tsukuba. But it was a really enjoyable forum, and I was able to meet everyone again. I think the researchers who were close to each other created a good atmosphere. The young researchers in particular seemed very lively. And also there are many familiar faces which eased the barrier for students to make presentations and participate in question and answer sessions in a different language, English, said Steve also, and provided a good opportunity for discussions in English. It was a great opportunity for researchers, including the graduate students, to get to know each other and share a variety of common topics. And also the panels based on common themes, including gender, the Olympics, and baseball. And participants felt a sense of affinity with the basic understanding of the lifestyles and daily issues shared by the three countries. We would like to continue to discuss these topics together if the opportunity arises in the future. And also it was good that the event was not limited to just these three countries, but included participants from countries across the Pacific, such as Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and India. And especially for the baseball panels, we can recognize the history of baseball in Taiwan, Korea, which was influenced by Japan, while also being influenced by the American Major League Baseball. And there has been a mutual movement of players between professional baseball and high school baseball. Additionally, many Korean residents of Japan have also produced professional players. In particular, tracking the movement of players from Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan since the 1990s, as well as the organization and the strengthening of national teams for international tournaments, and media discourse from each country at international tournaments are interesting topics. This is a very interesting topic in that it explores the global aspects of baseball as a cultural industry and intricate interweaving of the baseball player development, training systems, and cultural situations in East Asian region and each country. And that is the I think the first comment of your of the East Asian forums. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shimizu. So next we'll have Sung-Yong Kwon to give us his thoughts on the first East Asian Sports Sociology Forum.
Okay, thank you for your patience. My name is Sung-Yong Kwon. I'm one of the actually Korean participants. Really enjoyed the forum 2 weeks ago. I would like to start by expressing my sincere gratitude to Professor Sean Chen, our Chinese colleagues, for organizing a wonderful event, and also today's session too. So overall, to me, it was in the forum was a fantastic opportunity to connect with Asian colleagues and students. overall, I couldn't agree with more with Steve's comment and Professor Shimizu's comment about the diversity of interesting topics and all the quality of sessions. I really enjoyed the productive intellectual discussions about sociology of sports in our field. And especially, I would like to mention the keynote sessions was very impactful. So also would like to express sincere gratitude, appreciation to all the three distinguished invited keynote speakers, Professors Steve Jackson, Brent McDonald, and Marcelle Dawson. They shared their valuable insight into important latest sociology of sports topics. I also thoroughly enjoyed each keynote speaker and felt their contribution created a truly enriching experience. And then from the conversation with our Korean colleagues, participants, I've heard that they found that the keynote speaker participant experience to be valuable also. I also think the 3 panel sessions, gender, elite sports policy, and the baseball also provided an important platform all the participants from East Asian countries to share diverse perspectives on the common themes. I also felt that all 3 topics hold a significant meaning and value as a potential collaborative research themes in the future. Also, of course, this sentiment is also shared by our Korean colleagues, participants, according to my conversation with them. And especially, I wanted to mention that I believe that the forum was particularly significant because it provided a valuable opportunity for Korean colleagues and members to meet East Asian scholars, students within our field. Particularly, I think it's important because the forum has been a great opportunity for our Korean members to reflect on the current state and future direction of the sociology of sports in Korea and East Asia region and beyond the East Asia region too, especially regarding research topics and the broader academic landscape. KSSS, Korean Society of Sports Sociology, they will gonna have an annual meeting shortly on November 29th. And so I believe we will be sharing our forum participation experiences, and we hope we listen to and gather thoughts and ideas from our members on the forum's future development and our continued involvement in it. That's all for this part at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Song-Yong, and all 3 panelists for their weighing in on this topic. And to me, I think it's very obvious. Me, myself, and the whole team, we devoted ourselves into this. We absolutely enjoy every moment of it, even though it's quite, a lot of works to be done. And one thing I noticed that even though we had to settle for English, obviously still being the official language of the forum, most of the time, especially during the keynote and panel sessions, the microphone was still in the hand of those who speak more fluent English. I think it's a pity to some degree. I'm not sure if the floor was more open in oral sessions and poster sessions or not, because as a host, I usually had to deal with the trivial stuff, including whether bubble tea was delivered in time, etc. So I'm not sure if what do you guys think? Was that a more open floor during the oral sessions?
Yes, thanks, Sean. And I think I may have, if I didn't, then I apologize, made the comment even for my own keynote speech that I was very grateful for the opportunity to speak in English. Excuse me. And I know this happens a lot, and we're all quite concerned about it, that English becomes the dominant language, not only in terms of operating at conferences, but also things like IRSS and publications and things like that. I think most of us are aware that there are future possibilities through technology. AI is making amazing advances, and I would not be surprised in the future if we're all going to have our own little headphones, and there will be a fairly good translation at the same time, both ways or multi-ways. And I think that's something that we can look at, that technology won't be the only solution, but a partial solution to this. And I think in future, I think it should be an actual panel discussion where we ask students and scholars to talk about the issue and maybe ways, strategies to improve things.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked is because as I talk in the forum, the subtitle of this forum is the local, the region, and the globe. Like I said, it's not perfect English because it's grammar. In terms of the grammar, it's a little bit odd. But I'm sure that everybody knows what I mean because I will try to dissect the sports affair from the 3 different dimensions. And I also encourage every delegate in the forum to express themselves, no matter what language they're more comfortable with, even body language. And even in the final social event, when we went to the baseball game, I noticed that there were some very active Korean students who were avid baseball fans. They communicate with Taiwanese and Japanese scholars very actively. I think that's, in that sense, baseball is our common language. I mean, it's a cliche, but sometimes it really is. So, anyone, Professor Satoshi Shimizu or Song-Yong, you want to weigh in on this topic? Professor Shimizu, please.
But I think it is very important for the keynote speech by fluent English. So the Steve's spot washing keynote is very interesting, and graduate students have the good times for the studying the international styles of the presentation and discussing after the sessions. So we all in Japanese and memorizing and also the discussion in Japanese. But it is quite interesting for the Steve's spot washings, and also the graduate student study of the situations and information of the editorial board and the process of the editorial journals. That is also the studying very much and interesting for the young scholars, especially. So that's why I think it is interesting for the keynote speech by fluent English. That is continuously to the discussions and also in the forums. Thank you.
And how about you, Song-Yong?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up because I think it's important issue we could continue to talk about in any international conference, especially in the East Asia region. All 3 countries involved, they don't speak English as a primary language. So, and I wanted to express my thanks to Sean being so mindful about that aspect. And then, you also created a really interesting theme for the conference. So again, thank you for your kind of consideration. So, I remember during the baseball panel session, I think we briefly tried to use Google Translate. I think it was really, great attempt, to try. And then, as Steve mentioned about it, we are witnessing the remarkable development speed of AI technology. And then, from what I heard from Korean colleagues after the event, and then in Korea, in the classes with the international students, like in East Asian countries from China and Japan, other countries, they already established the kind of AI-supported translation system in class, which is affordable price. They said it's available online, and then so would be great we can have that real-time AI translation in our future forum events, so that we don't miss in the valuable insights from other people, not only keynote speakers, but also other all participants join our forum. So I'm very hopeful that using those technology in our future forum. Of course, we should be aware about the risk of the technology environment too. So, okay, thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Sung-Yong, for reminding me that, yeah, actually we did attempt to use AI,
Right.
or more specifically Google Translation in real time, but it did not turn perfectly. It's still not there yet, but I think with the development, the speed of the development, we will see the future pretty soon. So, so if everybody agrees that the forum, the concept of the forum is a good one, even though I'm sure there is definitely room to improve. So if we come in terms of the concept, so is EASSF here to stay? If this is a sustainable project, what can we do in the future? So I would like to invite Professor Satoshi Shimizu first on this.
Yeah, following the successful conclusions this year's event in Taiwan, so next year IRSS meeting will be held in Seoul, South Korea. Then also among the participants from Japan, there was an opinion that we would like to make a forum. This issue will be discussed at the Japanese Society of Sports Sociology, but we attending this forum members agreed to continue to the East Asian forums. And this time there were many presentations by graduate students and young researchers, since they are crossing the distance and have similar views on topics of interest. It's a good forum for young people to meet and discuss things. And also, I will also be the beneficiary for the future international conferences if the young generations works together with IRSS to build a network with sports sociologists in East Asia and Pan-Pacific. So the Japanese members to attend the forum will continuously to the ES forum, and also the holding the Japan after the 2025, 2026 or 2027. But final decisions will be made by the Japan Sports Sociology Forum and Association. But we continuously these forums. Thank you.
That's great news. Thank you, Satoshi. And next, I would like to invite Sung-Yong.
Okay, thank you, Sean. I think the forum has been a meaningful first step in addressing the demand of sociological research about East Asian sports. And it marks the start of what could be an ongoing project thing. So really important event. I also fully agree that we shouldn't make it a regular, opportunity for all of us to gather and collaborate. With that in mind, I think it would be great to discuss what we could set up a recording forum. So considering factors like time and budget and resources, we might look at rotating the hosting among 3 countries, either every year or every 2 years. And if we go with an annual plan, we can consider alternating between online or in-person events, and that could be a more practical way to keep things flexible. And for all things, continue to improve, I think we will need some communication channel structure on two levels. So social media channel like Facebook, Sean made greatly useful, but I think on two levels, in the leadership communication level and also kind of academic work sharing level, we can consider to establish two platforms on two levels. Start with leadership communication channel. I think we could just start with forming, setting up a kind of leadership council structure made up of presidents and key officials from each three associations. And that group can serve as a kind of space to discuss the forum's direction and outline special activities for the future. And then we might consider hosting that meetings like twice a year in the first in the second year semester half, either or online or in person. And also we can consider a platform where we can share our own academic work and achievement. And but setting up a independent, dedicated space is challenging at this moment. I think we can consider utilizing, existing, established academic outlets. For example, Sport and Society Journal have an online, special issue in East Asia sports, and then we can actively utilize the promote our work through that channel. So one last strategy we can consider is that I think it's important to making our East Asian Sociology Sports Forum related agenda as a kind of regular topic within our each organization. And we have some communication channel among international committee or board member responsible for international affairs, sharing their ideas, and then discussions from each organization kind of regularly. So that way we can keep us updated on our topic and to keep our attention focused on our common interest, East Asian Social Sports Forum. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sang-Yong. I think that's a very promising statement that you made along with Professor Shimizu's. So how about you, Steve? Being an outsider of East Asian, or maybe we can include or expand to Asia Pacific. What's your perspective on this?
Yes, thanks. And thank you to Satoshi and Sun-Yong, who I think did a really good job of summarizing some of the potential, and Sun-Yong even identified some strategies, which I think are great. And I will, as an outsider, I guess I can only give maybe a little bit of advice. You're the ones who are directly involved. Many of us will do whatever we can to support. But I guess what I would say is that JSSS, KSSS, TSSS have worked very hard. And I know the workload is enormous, even though they're well established now. There's an awful lot of work that has to be done by committee members, a president, that's on top of their regular jobs, and some are involved in multiple organizations. So I guess I would just suggest that you go slow, that you've had a couple of events, this one being the first, and to dialogue and to think about the short, the medium, and the long-term goals of each organization, and see where they overlap, and where you can draw on each other's strengths, and to support each other. And the idea of events like the ISSA conference in Seoul, Korea next year is a great opportunity to either have a meeting or a panel discussion or something like that. In 2027, ISSA is back in Korea. And there may be other types of, for example, Asian sporting events, whether it's winter or summer, where each country might be able to leverage government funding, perhaps to build in academic programs. And so seizing those kinds of opportunities might be a way to do it, as well as simple things like, anniversaries, the 10th anniversary, the 20th anniversary. Sometimes there's a little bit more support from universities and municipal governments, state and federal governments to help push those things along. So I'm really optimistic from what I've seen. The fact that you had 170 delegates for basically the first event, I think says a lot. And I do think perhaps if you would have opened it up to online presentations, I know it was sort of there, but the idea of virtual conferences, if it's too expensive, for example, and there's environmental concerns, there might be ways of using technology from time to time to help enhance that. But I would also say that there's nothing like meeting people face to face. As much as technology is wonderful, seeing people face to face is very important and carries a lot of meaning. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. So I think we all have a same or similar vision for the East Asian Sports Sociology Forum. And I think all of us would agree that we should do this continuously, but not just in a physical conference. Of course, that's a goal. But other than that, maybe we can do it online or via other different routes to connect each of us. So for those who did not join us, I actually created a Facebook page for East Asian Sports Sociology Forum. I think you can search for it on Facebook. It looks like this. Okay. So yeah, so far we only got 65 members. I think that's okay. And I know many of you think, especially young grad students, might think that Facebook is for old guys, but I don't mind. I think that's a good start. And in my mind, I think it could be a start to exchange ideas, to even to show that all the sports events that we do care in the East Asian region, the impact of Shohei Ohtani or Song Hyun-min or Tsunoda, the F1 driver. So I think that's a good start. If you want to, even looking for research partners, I think that's a good start. So if you are interested, please send a request, and of course I will let you join into the Facebook group. And okay, so other than this, since we are all somewhat to some degree very optimistic about the future of this, then how about if is there any potential collaboration projects already there that we can do in the near future? What kind of topic? Of course, we share, the elite sports policy and also East Asian baseball and sports and gender in all three panels in the forum. What else? I mean, just to throw up one ideas, the extremely low birth rate in all three countries. I think that's a common crisis we all face. What would that happen to sports or physical education like that? So what kind of research ideas or potentials that you have in mind, maybe for us in the near future? How about we start with Sang-Yong?
Okay, thank you, Sean. Regarding our research topics, I think we could start with considering, general all the topics we've been talking about within the sociology of sports community. But also we can develop some research topics, especially regionally related topic that commonly are interested in East Asian regions. I think the baseball is a really wonderful example. We had at the forum, as you mentioned about it, is not as globally popular as soccer, but it's really commonly shared sports, popular sports within East Asian region. And then I noticed that when I go to Taiwan, though, it was a great experience. I noticed some differences in terms of supporting cultures and then the way they organize their baseball games. So it would be interesting to do a comparative research on baseball, and we could we can think about research topics, baseball or other sports like martial arts or other traditional original sports, I would say, in each countries, and then the way how they were developed in context of each nation. So I think it's really promising that we can come up with really interesting topics for all of us within our East Asian region. But I think it's important that we can start with some strategies that think about where we can get our collaborative work out for the other audiences. So we would consider to develop kind of communications regarding designing and creating kind of special issue topics for major academic journals together, and then they keep them really attractive, contribution to international audience too, I think. And then later in that specialist could serve as a kind of a book project ultimately. And then so also I think it's important that we would like to have some kind of resources as we go with our own research project. So we can collaborate with applying for funding, research funding in each country, within each country, as well as international opportunities, funding opportunities. So that's pretty much about at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Sung-Yong. Next, I would like to invite Professor Shimizu.
Yeah, I think also the Professor Kong, and also the in addition to the three themes presented, we could also discuss the cultural background of the sports such as soccer, table tennis, soft tennis, and wushu, say in the Kwon Sang-yong. And also the relationship between the cooperation and the sports, including corporate policies for developing and strengthening elite athletes. It will also be interesting to conduct a discourse analysis in three countries regarding the media, old media and new media. That is important in the three countries. But gender issue, there are similarities between the three countries, including the persistence of traditional gender roles, the predominance of men in the sports coaching and at the top of the sports organizations, and problems with harassment. First of all, the question is what exactly constitutes equality, and what academia can do when each country has structures that are invisible to other countries. I think it is the three countries, and especially for the baseball and also the gender issues, I think it will be the continuously to the international and also the ES forums, and also the sports such as the soccer, baseball, table tennis. Like this one is interesting for the future themes. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shimizu. Next, I would like to invite Professor Steve Jackson weighing in on this issue.
Thank you, Sean. I think, again, Sung-Yong and Satoshi have done a very nice job of highlighting some really exciting areas of future research collaboration. And I guess I would suggest that perhaps the best thing is to draw on the existing strengths of the scholars and their postgraduate students, the teams of students, in fact, in some cases, that are doing research on the politics of baseball. And for those outside of East Asia, I think they almost need to attend the East Asian, Sports Sociology Forum or JSSS or KSSS to really get an understanding of that post-colonial era and the influence of not only Japan, but also America indirectly on each of those, and how even today it's playing out. But some of the other topics where I see there's ongoing research across the three countries are things like sport mega events, and there's some really good research by Koji Kobayashi and Lee and a few others that are doing great work. The environment and sustainability is an issue that cuts across many nations. And as Satoshi mentioned, the idea of, in a broad sense, integrity issues that relate to not only gender and equality, but also things like match fixing and athlete maltreatment are coming to the surface now. And I think all those offer opportunities. Sun Young mentioned something about government funding, and I think that's something that if you were to meet, the leaders were to meet on an annual basis or biannual basis, you'd be able to share what the government priorities are within the broad area of research for sport, physical education funding. And that's a real chance. And then beyond this, I think this was an idea I had, I think when I was on the board or just after the board for ISSA, where we might be able to help facilitate not just for East Asia, but for other countries. And that is for scholars who are willing, that have been very successful at getting big grants like ARC, Australian Research Council grants, or SSHRC grants, Social Science Research Council grants in Canada, or other types of grants, that these are shared in a repository on the ISSA website. And it allows other scholars to see how they might adapt those for their own cultural context. And I know there's a bit of, people try to guard these, and because people have put so much work into these research grants, but maybe there's a way of just doing the right thing where you might invite this scholar who was so successful in Canada or Australia to be a part of the research team as an advisor, so that they also benefit in their own way or get some recognition. And I think that's more of a longer term thing, but I think as scholars, more and more, we really do have to help and support each other, because it is so competitive and the funding is so limited. So I'm quite optimistic about some of the topics that are already ongoing, and I think there's plenty of scope for some great things in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, Satoshi, and Song Yong. I think, yes, there are plenty of opportunities there as long as we, have a first step reaching out. I think we will definitely have some very fruitful inter-region, East Asian kind of research project in the near future. I mean, the time is especially promising here in Taiwan, I guess, because reaching out is the main target for us, considering our diplomatic difficulties in the international community. And so as we speak, actually, Czech national baseball team is now visiting Taiwan, and they are here not just for baseball, even though the Premier 12, the baseball tournament, is coming up, but also for diplomatic reason. They even had a chance to visit our President Lai Ching-te in the presidential hall. So reaching out is always a top priority for Taiwan, even in academic societies. That's why I had a chance to be the host for the first East Asian Sports Sociology Forum. So, but for me, I think it would be a great chance for me to, to get some attention from the floor, because currently I'm working on a project on Captain Tsubasa, the famous manga in Japan, I think all over the world. I'm particularly interested in this development is because in the region of Katsushika in Tokyo, I think is very, very famous, and they even have numerous statues in the area based on the manga characters, Captain Tsubasa. And the author, I think also the chairman of the football club in that area is Takahashi Yoichi, the famous manga artist. The reason I am interested in that development is that because the popularity of the docuseries called Welcome to Wrexham is shown on Disney Plus, it's become a global phenomenon. And they made the small community club and the small town into a global attraction. So I'm particularly interested in how actually, because Captain Tsubasa is a way more earlier works, and it also got a lot of global fans. And what could that do to community football? So if you are interested in the same or similar topic, or you are in that area, and I think I may need your help in the near future. So I'm here just to throw out an idea here. And also, we will now be into our final topic of this session. So I'm not sure if you are aware or not. Last year, when I was in the JSS conference in Tokyo, one of the visiting scholars from France, I think, Jonathan Bresson, he approached me and asked me, yeah, I love the idea, because during that time, I pitched the idea of EASF to the audience, to the delegates of the JSSS. He asked me, well, the idea sounds great, very promising, but how about, China? So now I think that it's our time to address the elephant in the room, or dragon in the room, if you will. And of course, in the first East Asian Sports Sociology Forum, we got delegates from, of course, New Zealand, Australia, and even Hong Kong, and even Professor Nita Bandyopadhyay, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, from India. So I think the original intent is as inclusive as possible. We welcome everybody from the world as long as you are interested in what's going on in East Asian sports. But I think it's predictable that I did not get any delegates, registered from mainland China or even overseas Chinese scholars coming into this forum. But how about in the future? I think everybody here is aware that the relationship between Taiwan and China is complex. It's really, really complicated. So what do we feel about, getting Chinese scholars or delegates or grad students coming in? Personally, I don't know. Of course, we have some. I actually supervise some of the Chinese students in National Taiwan Sport University earlier. So I also have plenty of friends in terms of personal level over there. So I would like to hear everybody's opinion on this when we are moving on. The ESSF moving on. I think that's the subject we have to talk about. So how about you, Steve?
Thanks, Sean. Yes, it's a very challenging question, and there are certain complexities and realities. And for those who may not be aware, even ISSA has been, the subject of challenges in this light. So, for example, when we had the conference in Beijing, about 2 weeks before the conference, we were advised by the organizers that we had to remove the TSSS logo from our website. Otherwise, the entire conference was canceled. Now, that's political pressure, and I don't actually fault our colleagues that are running the conference. These are directions that are coming from much higher, and I think it's important we distinguish between a government and the citizens of a government. So I think my approach would always be to be as inclusive, that we have open arms and we invite people, but there are, international rules of academic order, and that includes respecting each other's type topics of research, respecting their theories and their methods, and also being able to acknowledge that we are allowed to critique. That is a part of being an academic, and that we have to acknowledge and respect sovereignty. So in the case of ISSA, we happen to be a member of ISA, which recognizes Taiwan, and that's why there's very few Chinese colleagues who ever participate in ISA. So one of the things JSS, KSS, and TSS can use is to go open arms and inclusive, but we follow these these orders, these academic rules of world order, or whatever terms you want to use, and hopefully over time we can build bridges and not great walls. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Steve. How about you, Sang-Yong?
Yes, thank you, Sean. Thanks, Steve. It was a really great approach. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's again, it's a really important issue, but needed some careful approach, given the complexity of the situation. And to me, this is a kind of long-term consideration we all need to focus on. But our initial progress at the forum, 2 weeks ago, was a great success. But the initial success, I think, based on the kind of leadership structure of 3 countries: Taiwan, Japan, and the Korea's sociology of sports associations. Of course, there were participants, other Asian regions coming and join the forum, but in the nature of this forum has grounded in kind of 3 organizations. At this moment, 3 organizations come together and then make that happen. That's my speculation at the moment. And then it's kind of ultimately we could consider, should we go with this kind of structure longer term? How are we going to go about it? But at this moment, that is really essential. We have this kind of structure set in place to go from here and to go further sustainable forum development. So if correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, as far as I understand, in China, it appears at the moment, sociology of sports doesn't seem to be a dominant research subject area within the sports science scholars in China. And also, I was told that there is not a established professional organization dedicated to representing or leading sociology of sports in China. So given the our initial approach, including all 3, based on 3 organizations from 3 countries, I think it will be more effective, to consider at the moment that if there were an independent organization dedicated to sports sociology in China, that would be much better, that we can have some communication, a contact point with them. Of course, as Steve said, should be more inclusive and inviting the academic community. So we definitely need to, encourage our individual Chinese scholars to join our East Asia Sports Forum continuously. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sang-Yong. Next, I would like to invite Professor Schmitz.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, we don't know the Chinese scholars related to the Japanese Sports Sociology associations. It's not to contact so much with the Chinese researchers. I think it is firstly and basically, so each of the sports sociological association contact to the Chinese researchers in daily or years project or years meetings. That is the important one for the first time. And then I think it is useful for the contacting the Chinese scholars in the same themes. That is also in the martial arts or something. The first project. But in the International Journal of the History of Sport or some other traditional sports, I know some of the Chinese researchers in the history or traditional sport. So we continuously to the touch of the Chinese researchers in each of the sports association and also the inviting the panels in each of the countries' associations. That is the first process. And also we discuss the future plan in 3 countries and also in the Australia or New Zealand or something. So we continuously to the future plans for the ES forums. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all your great insights and ideas. And being the host of the first East Asian Sports Sociology Forum, of course, I did consider inviting Chinese delegates coming in. But, since this is the first time we did this, so my target or my strategy is that since I didn't know most of sociologists over there, I kind of locked in with KSSS and JSSS. I use them as a node, as a hub for me to reaching out. So actually, I did not know if there's Chinese sports sociology society or some organizations like that. And also, I know there's sports management Asian societies like this. But for me, because we are in the subject of sports sociology, I mean the main essence or the spirit of this particular discipline is being critical and being able to dissect the power relationship in the sports terrain. So I don't know if you overseas, maybe for most overseas Chinese sports sociologists, of course, you are all very welcome to join us next time. But because this is the first time in Taiwan, I did not know too much about whether there's a very, specific or formal or official organization over there. And on top of that, because if we did invite Chinese scholars coming into Taiwan, it's very complicated procedure. Because we have to not just only help apply for visa, but also we have to be the sponsor, or you have to guarantee someone's activities or their whereabouts here in Taiwan. So TSSS is a very small scale society, and so during the preparation stage, I think it would be a lot of work for us to handle all of this. And so, of course, in the near future, maybe when Japan and Korea being the host, I think that particular issue would be easier to solve. Of course, I would love, and I think everybody here would love to visit some sports sociologists from China or overseas Chinese scholars. And so I think that's really, if we are going to expand this network, expand this forum, I think that's the issue we have to face. That's why I brought it up as a final topic for our forum. So again, thank you everybody for pitching in and giving great insights on this. And so finally, we may have like 10 minutes if you having any questions or comments about this panel, or East Asians with any ideas for what's the future of this forum. You are more than welcome to chat and leave your message on the chat room. So if there's no comments or questions, I think this virtual panel, of course, has been recorded and will be uploaded to the YouTube channel of ISSA. So you can spread the news for those who are interested in this particular academic event. Please tell them that they can watch the video even though they missed this opportunity to join us live. So yeah, if there's no any other things, there's one. Yeah. Yeah, so Ziwei Zhen, yeah. I think that's a good idea. So many, of course, Chinese overseas students, yeah, they would be great if you could help us spread the news and bringing more people joining us. That would be awesome. And of course, I know a lot of Chinese grad students, thanks to Alan Biner in Loughborough University. I think Alan is the hub for all of us to get to know each other. So, of course, then anybody? So Steve, Satoshi, or Songyong, if you have any final words on this? No. Great. So I guess that's it. So thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a great weekend for me at the physical forum, and also we also have another 80 minutes of virtual panel by looking back of our experience and looking forward as well. So thank you everybody, and let's expand this network, and hopefully we can see you, next year in Seoul and also online. Join us at a Facebook page. So let's see you, and thank you everybody again. So see you next year in Seoul. Thank you.